Hello and welcome to the Path to Freedom podcast, a weekly podcast with the intention to inspire, empower, and uplift us all to develop a healing consciousness that we, that is you and me, may forever allow for greater and grander versions and expressions of who and what we are to emerge with ease, grace, and spiritual dignity. My name is Daniel Roquillo, and I am your host. Blessings, everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of the Path to Freedom podcast. This weekly podcast, about waking up to who and what we are, about allowing for greater and grander expressions on that who and what to emerge, about allowing for freedom, the freedom that is inherent within us, the joy that is inherent within us, the peace that is inherent within us, the love that is inherent within us, the harmony and wholeness that is inherent within us, the beauty that is inherent within us, and the light that is inherent within us to emerge in ever greater and grander ways. My name is Daniel Roquillo, and I'm privileged and honored to be the host of this podcast. And so I welcome you, whoever you are and wherever you are. There are people from all over the world tuning into this podcast, either on the day they air or later on. But I welcome all of you, and I'm happy and I'm grateful that they tune in. They actually choose to tune into this particular, out of all these podcasts there are, you're choosing this one. So I'm grateful and I'm happy about that. The topic for today is about willingness. And I think the topic is willingness is a major key to freedom. And this obviously is inspired by a conversation that I had a couple of days ago with a client, and that triggered a realization or perhaps a clarification within me. And so I'm eager to share and explore the concept of willingness with you here today. But as always, before we move into the actual talking and the actual topic and the actual episode, let's have a moment of coming back to the nowness of this moment, a moment of grounding ourselves and centering ourselves in the now, in the eternal, a moment of meditation followed by a moment of prayer. And so in this moment, I invite you to make yourself comfortable as possible. I invite you to take a deep breath, breathing in and breathing out. Another deep, conscious, full, healing breath. I invite you to close your eyes, your outer eyes, that is. And while you close your eyes, I invite you to tap in between the eyebrows, activating that inner eye, the eye behind the eye, that we may catch that which cannot be caught, see that which cannot be seen, hear that which cannot be heard with our human senses. I invite us all to tap, and while we're tapping, I invite us all to smile. Smiling informs the body that everything is all right, that all is well, that the body may relax, that the body may release, these good for the body chemicals, endorphins, oxytocin, and whatever they're called. I don't know the names of them, all at least. So we can stop tapping. I invite us to place our hands in our lap, palms facing upward, and perhaps allowing your thumb and middle finger to touch. Before we move into the meditation, let's set an intention. You're free, obviously, to choose your own intention, but my intentions, I've got 3, and they are always for me to wake up to who and what I am, to allow for greater and grander expressions of that who and what to emerge, and to be a greater teacher and healer than I've ever imagined. That's why I'm meditating. That's why I do pretty much everything I do. And before we enter into the meditation, there are a couple of things we need to be aware of. As we turn our attention toward our breath, we need to be aware, firstly, that the body is fully capable and able to do the breathing in and of itself. With its divine intelligence, it knows exactly how to breathe and when to breathe and to how much to breathe. And so as we turn our attention toward our breath, we need to be aware that we don't take over the breathing from the body, but that we simply observe it. We can surrender to the breathing, allowing it to happen. And the second thing we want to be aware of is that we want to keep our attention on our breath throughout the full breath. And a full breath, of course, is the in-breath, the space in between in and out breath, the out-breath, and the space in between out and in-breath. That's a full breath. And so we want to keep our attention on our full breath, the whole circle of breathing. And so in this moment, I invite us all to take on the feeling tone that all is well. So let the peace reign supreme and we become still. Should our mind drift, we gently and lovingly come back to the breath and we begin again. Come back to the breath and begin again. Come back to the breath and begin again. So in a moment, move us into prayer. I invite you to remain with your eyes closed, but still open and available, that you may catch the vibration of the prayer, giving it permission to move you into an even higher vibration, a higher frequency. And so in this moment, this glorious, this sacred, this divine moment, I'm grateful and I'm thankful and I'm appreciative for this moment, for the peace that is here, that we are, the love that is here in this moment, that we are, the joy that is here in this moment, that we are, the harmony and wholeness that is here in this moment, that we are. I'm simply grateful for this moment, for this peaceful, joyful, harmonious moment, for the freedom that is here, that we are. And I'm grateful for this path of freedom that we are all walking. And so I'm grateful for you and for your willingness to walk this path, for your willingness to wake up to who and what you are, for your willingness to break free from the moorings of the past, stories, beliefs, perceptions, point of views that you may have held on to, but that are now no longer serving you. And so I'm grateful for your willingness to participate, to consciously participate in the releasing and letting go, and simultaneous expanding, unfolding, growing, transforming. Simply, I'm grateful for you and for your having said yes at one point. And I'm grateful that you've chosen to tune into this particular podcast, this particular episode, and thereby co-creating this loving field, this high vibration field that we in this moment are creating. Regardless of whether you tune in when this goes live or if you tune in at a later point, in a later moment, you're still participating, you're still co-creating. And I'm grateful. I'm grateful for all of the technology that allows all of this to be. Everything here at my end and everything at your end that allows us to connect in this way. And I'm grateful for spirit, fully knowing and feeling that God is all there is. In every single being, in every single object, in every single space and place, the fullness of God is. Infinite love, infinite peace, infinite joy, infinite harmony, infinite abundance, infinite wholeness, infinite beauty, infinite intelligence, creativity, bliss, expansion. These are all descriptions of the nature of God. And yet, we need to be aware that God cannot be described with words. Words only go so far. But as God is limitless, infinite, eternal, words cannot fully describe the nature and essence and the truth of spirit. But I'm grateful to know and feel that God cannot ever diminish itself, not ever contradict itself, not ever divide itself into parts. But wherever God is, the fullness of God is. The fullness of God is. Closer than our neck vein, closer than our heartbeat, closer than our hands and feet. Because we and God are one. God is not out there, but God is right here. We, that is you and me, we're all and both unique and perfect emanations of God. We're all and both spirit expressing itself in us and through me, and is in us and through you. One with the one with the whole. God and we are one. We and God are one. There is only one. And as God is eternally sourcing and fueling and funding itself, it means that we, you and I, are eternally sourced, fueled, and funded. As God is forever sustaining and maintaining itself, it means that we, you and I, are forever sustained and maintained. As God is always and forever guiding and leading and moving itself into ever greater and grander expressions, it means that right where you are, right where I am, we are guided, led, moved, and led into ever greater and grander expressions of who and what we are, ultimately who and what God is. And what this means is that wherever we are and whatever conditions and circumstances we may be facing, we may find ourselves in, everything is working for our good. All is well, always and forever. All is well, because God is. God is good and God is everywhere, so everything needs to be good and well, because God is right here. Always and forever for us, and never ever against us in any way, shape, or form. So right where we are, everything we need, we have in this moment, in every single moment. All of our needs are met. Abundance is right here. Free flow of energy is right here. Circulation of energy is right here. We are lacking nothing. We are missing nothing. But we have everything we need. Everything we need to keep moving. Everything we need to keep expanding. Everything we need to keep allowing for greater and greater expressions of that who and what that we are to emerge with ease and grace. I know it and I feel it. I accept it. I give thanks for it. I allow it to be, fully knowing that it's done. So it is, and so be it. So shall it be. Amen. I invite you to open your eyes. And as I've been reminding us all these last what is it, couple of weeks, I believe. Let's stay up here. We've raised our vibration. We have raised our frequency. Let's stay up here. Let us be willing to do what we need to do to stay up here. Staying up here in this high frequency, in these high vibrations, it does not come by itself, but it takes work. Engaging in prayer like we just did, and meditation like we just did, that is a kind of work that raises our vibration. But in between the meditations and in between the prayers, there's still work to be done. And so this is a part of the willingness concept that this episode is all about. And to be honest, pretty much as always with these episodes, sometimes I come up with the topics and sometimes they're given to me. But regardless, I very rarely know what to say when we move into the episode. And when I press that recording button, I very rarely know what to say. But I'm always trusting that Spirit flows through me, as Spirit and I are one. I fully trust that Spirit flows through me, that Spirit speaks through me. God moves through me for the highest good for everyone and anyone tuning in. And so I'm a bit, I'm looking forward to hear what God's going to say about willingness. And the first thing that God wants to say is that there are different aspects of willingness. Willingness is not the same necessarily as being in joy and liking that which we need to do. There are times and there are periods when it actually sucks to be on this path. I mean, ultimately, I love it. And in retrospect, I love every single challenge that I've moved through, simply because I know and realize that they are all for my good. And they're all gifts and blessing of transformation, allowing me to go even higher. But when I'm smack in them, like I'm having today a day when it's been relentless. I got up early and I have not had many moments all by myself. But it's been one of these days when there's been back to back activities, and there's been people all around me all day that I've been having to talk to, and that I've had to communicate with and collaborate with. So this is one of these days where I would much, and I'm hoping that this comes out right, but I would much rather go lay down on the couch or just pop up Netflix or something. But I have made a commitment to this podcast and a lot of other things as well. And I'm willing to stand by that. I'm willing to do the work necessary, which means that I need to prioritize. And as of today, or as for today, I needed to choose to do what I'm committed to do or do what I wanted to do. Sometimes I give myself the luxury to, not sometimes, quite often, I give myself the luxury of choosing what I want to do. But today, that was not one of those days, or at least this moment was not one of these moments when I made the choice to record this podcast, this episode. So there are different aspects of willingness, but willingness is not, it does not always mean that we like what we want to do. And willingness is not being willful, trying to make something happen or trying to force something to happen. There are a lot of people that are willful, that sort of move through life as a train engine, or like in Spain they had these bull races where they let loose bulls to run through the streets. I don't think they do it anymore. So I'm not trash talking Spain in any way. I love Spain, by the way. But these bulls, they work themselves up and they stop for nothing. And so that's being willful. But willingness is simply making ourselves open and available to listen to that still small voice, to guide us where to go and what to do. And so on this path of freedom, we can sort of draw a line, as everything is one. There really are no lines. There's no difference between outer work and inner work. But for the sake and for the purpose of this episode, let's make a distinction between inner work and what we're called to do in the world. So let's begin with the inner work, because as we set our intentions, or as we catch our visions, and we begin to move in a conscious direction. Oh, and let me back up, because the reason why this topic came to me, I was talking to a client the other day, and he was seeking to have things change in his life. He wanted some external circumstances to change, but he was not quite willing to change himself. He stubbornly wanted other individuals to change, and he wanted some external conditions to change without him having to change, because he as he described it, I like who I am. And also he said, why do I need to change? I'm not the one who did this and that. So why do I need to change? They are the one. And so this led us into our conversation with regards to willingness, and I shared with him that he cannot expect external circumstances to change permanently. He can move, and thereby changing external circumstances. He can change his partner. He can quit his job and start a new job. And so on some level, none of these require that much of a change within him. And so temporarily, he can change the circumstances. And this goes for all of us. Temporarily, we can change the circumstances without having to change ourselves. But if we want permanent change, if we want for lasting changes, we need to be willing to change ourselves. And so there's inner work to be done, and that inner work translates to work that we do outside of ourselves. But along this path of freedom, we need to be willing. We can set an intention or we can catch a vision, but unless we are willing to grow and transform and expand with that vision, with that intention, they cannot and they will not come into manifestation. because we need to be in alignment with them for them to move into this dimension, for them to transition into this visible dimension. So we need willingness, which is simply saying, I'm willing. I don't know how. I don't know when. I don't know why, but I'm willing to change. I'm willing to do the inner work. I'm willing to release and let go of that which no longer serves me, the small and the limited. I'm willing. Thy will be done. I will the will of God to be done in my life. I surrender to it. And I give God permission to guide and lead and move me. And I'm willing to walk where God points me. And I'm willing to do what I need to do as per the guidance that we catch. Stubbornly holding on to past beliefs and stories and perceptions and blame and shame and anger and resentment and all that, it doesn't serve us. But we need to be willing to release and let go. And we need to be willing, moving outside of ourselves, moving to us being willing to be different in the world. We need to be willing to constantly move or push through our comfort zones, to stretch in our love, to stretch in our forgiveness, to stretch in our kindness. You see? Without this willingness, without this willingness, this path will be rough. As hard-headed as we may be, transformation will be difficult without the willingness. I'm not saying that it's easy, even when we are willing. As I began by saying, we inevitably move through challenges and dark moments. But it gets so much easier if we're willing to embrace and allow that which is to be. Not fighting it, not resisting it, not questioning it. Not asking why. Why is this happening? Why is this happening to me? But embracing and allowing that which is to be. And all of this is inner work. All of this is inner work. Everything is inner work that then translates and expresses itself as we move through the world. There's nothing that happens outside of us that does not come from within us. Every perception that we have, every thought that we have, every opinion that we have that give rise to our experiences, they're all filtered by our inner environment. Well, let's have a moment of exercise. Let's do a little exercise. And so I invite us all to close our eyes. Take a couple of deep breaths. Become still, centered, and turn within. And what I invite us to do is to simply ask the question on a scale from 1 to 10, where 1 being the lowest or the least, and 10 being the highest or the most. On a scale from 1 to 10, how willing am I to do the inner work necessary, to do that which I'm called to do, to keep moving toward my visions, my intentions, my dreams, or whatever, my desires, or whatever the case may be. How willing am I? So that's the question. So we ask the question, we're going to be silent for a few short moments, excuse me. How willing am I? All right. So the other part of this exercise is that we're going to have a willingness boost. And so what I invite you to do is to bring into your mind a moment where you felt yourself willing, a moment where perhaps you had hesitated to do something, but in this moment, you decided to go ahead and do it. Or in other words, perhaps you'd said maybe up until this moment, but in this moment, your maybe turned into yes. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna go for it. Come what may, I'm gonna go for it. So I invite you to bring such a moment where you made a choice to go for it. So bring that willingness, that feeling of being willing. Call that forth from within you. And so in a moment, I'm going to snap my fingers. And as I snap my fingers, I invite you to give that willingness permission to expand 10 times. Give it permission to expand by 10. And so in this moment, I invite you to take a deep breath. And I'm going to snap my fingers and allow it, the feeling of willingness to expand by 10 times. Yes. Can you feel it expanding? You're becoming increasingly willing to do what you need to do what you're called to do, to go for it. Let's do it again. From your level of willingness now, when I snap my fingers, allow it to expand by 50. So take a deep breath and allow the willingness to expand by 50. Yes. Becoming increasingly willing. You're becoming increasingly willing. Releasing and letting go of resistance. You can do it. You can do it. You can do it. You are doing it. You're doing it. One last time, I'm going to ask you to take a breath. When I snap my fingers, I want you to expand that feeling of being willing by 100 times. All right, so take the breath. Allow it to expand by 100. Boom. You're bursting with willingness. Not knowing how to do it, not knowing when to do it or where to do it, but you are willing to do it. Willing to break free from the small and the limited, to release and let go of the small and the limited, to shatter the small and the limited, that you may soar in whatever direction your heart desires. Let's soar together. Let's ride on the waves of willingness. Let's ride on the waves of surrender, not trying to figure out how anything's going to manifest or how anything's going to work out, but simply being willing to be guided and moved and led. Fully knowing and feeling that any obstacle that may come our way will dissolve. As long as we sustain our willingness, as long as we remain open and available to catch insights and guidance and revelations and realizations. Because everything is working for us. Everything is working for us. And I'm just now realizing that I actually moved into prayer. I didn't mean to, it just came out. But it doesn't matter, it serves the purpose. If that is what God wills, well, I'm all your spirit. I'm happy to be guided and moved and led. So I don't know if you opened your eyes. If you haven't, you may open them now. But doesn't it feel good to be willing? Doesn't it feel good to just saying yes without knowing? Perhaps not even knowing what we're saying yes to. Like I have, like my three intentions that I have, my supreme intentions to wake up to who and what I am. I'm absolutely willing to do everything I need to, everything I'm called to, everything I'm guided to move in alignment with that intention. But I have no idea what that looks like. I have no idea when I'm going to be faced with a learning possibility or an expansion possibility. And the same goes for the other two as well. To forever allow for greater and greater expressions of who and what I am to emerge. I'm totally willing. I have devoted my life to these three supreme intentions, but I have no idea where they're going to take me. I have no idea what the path is going to look like. I know this moment, and I know what I'm called to do right now, but tomorrow I have no idea. But I am willing, and I have promised myself to not ever shy away from doing the work. I may have moments and I may have days when I, for some reason, or when my ability to do the work is not as high as perhaps right now, but that's all right. And that's not what we're talking about here. We're always called to do the work to the best of our ability. And our ability on one day may be much, much higher than on the next day. And that's all right, obviously. Of course, that's all right. Everything is all right. But I am 100% willing to do and to go and to move where God points and leads me to go and move and go in alignment with these my 3 supreme intentions. I'm pointing to the wall because I have had them framed so that I see them every single day, that I get to look at them every single day as a sort of a reminder. I'm laughing because perhaps I'm not really needing a reminder, but as I look at them, they get encoded and programmed into my subconscious mind so that they get etched on my soul in a way. I love this path. I absolutely love this path, and I absolutely love my life. I absolutely love who I am and who I'm becoming and that which is emerging. And that too has taken a lot of work to get there, to get where I can honestly say that I love myself, I love my life, and I love who I'm becoming. That has taken a lot of work to be able to say that and feel that and mean that. And it doesn't mean that I think of myself as superior or more than another, but I truly, truly, truly value and honor myself and who I am. I'm an awesome dude. I'm a cool guy. I'm a cool guy. Willingness is such a major key to the path of freedom, to the path of awakening, to allowing for great and grand expressions. Willingness and surrender go hand in hand. If we're not willing, there will be no surrender. We may be forced to back down. We may be forced to our knees. We may be forced to go another way, but there's no surrender unless we're willing. Does it go the other way around? Can we surrender without being willing? Probably not. They go hand in hand. At least the way I catch it right now. All right, I have no idea what time it is, but it's time to stop. So I'm just going to bless us out that we may be on our way along our unique and perfect paths of awakening, of freedom, cultivating the willingness to grow, unfold, to be guided and moved and led, to do that which we're called to do, that which we need to do in order for that growth and expansion and unfoldment to take place and to happen in us and through us. So in this moment, I invite you to close your eyes. And I'm going to bless us out. And let me begin by saying, blessed be this moment. And blessed be you. And I'm so grateful for your participation in this, your co-creation in this field. And in this process of inspiring and empowering and uplifting and moving and touching all of us to wake up, to wake up, to who and what we are, to the truth and essence of who and what we are. I am so grateful. And knowing and feeling this gratitude and the appreciation, and knowing and feeling that something wonderful has happened and is happening in this very moment, in every single moment. It is so easy for me to recognize God's footprint and fingerprint on this divine design. God's hand that guides and leads and moves us. It is so easy for me to know and feel the goodness and the eternality and the allness of Spirit. Forever for us, never ever against us. Always got our backs. Always guiding, moving, and leading us in the direction we need to go, which is always for the highest good of all of creation. Always. And it's because God cannot contradict itself. And so God never guides, moves, and leads us in an opposing direction, or in a direction that is not for the highest good. God always moves us, guides us, and leads us to where we get to be of the highest service for all of creation, to all of creation. And so in this moment, as we are becoming increasingly willing to be open and available, to expand our consciousness, to raise our vibration, to do the inner work necessary, to do the outer work necessary, to do that which we're called to do. I know that healing right now, major, massive healing is taking place. This has been a beautiful and powerful episode. And the ramifications of this episode will be with us for days to come. Because we have said yes. Because we have said yes. Something truly wonderful has happened. Something truly wonderful is happening. In this moment, in this moment, in this moment. The small and the limited has dissolved. That which no longer serves us has been disintegrated. A new us is emerging. A new version and expression of who and what we are is emerging. Like the butterfly emerges, the caterpillar moves into the cocoon, goes through the metamorphosis, and the butterfly emerges. And they are not the same creatures. They are totally different beings. The butterfly soars, but the caterpillar was struggling to just get by. The butterfly soars, spreading light, spreading beauty and wholeness in a way that the caterpillar was not even close to spreading and sharing and giving. And this is what's happened here in this moment during this episode. I know it and I feel it. I accept it. I give thanks for it. I allow it to be. So it is and so be it. Amen. You may open your eyes if you choose to, if you feel inspired, empowered to do so, compelled to do so. Go forth, you beautiful being. Spring forth, soar forth, and be the light that you are. Be the love that you are. Be the kindness that you are. Be the abundance that you are, and the wholeness and harmony that you are, and the beauty that you are. Be it. Be willing to be it. And let nothing and no one subdue your light, diminish your beauty, or call down your wholeness and harmony. Move through the world as the divine being, unique and perfect that you are. Until the next time, I bless your day, and I bless your way. Beautiful, wonderful, powerful being. Namaste. You have been listening to an episode of the Path to Freedom podcast with me, Daniel Roqueo. I invite you to stay tuned for more episodes. If you have any questions or comments, or just want to get more inspiration and empowerment, you can find me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. I also invite you to visit my website, danielroqueo.com. I bless your day, and I bless your way, you beautiful, wonderful being.